This week on Barber World TV, I sit down with Aaron Henry, the visionary behind the TsuRag, the new stringless Durag of the industry. What made this man love 360 waves so much that he decided to come up with a new Durag? Let the people of Barber World TV know who you are.
My name is Aaron Henry. I am the founder and CEO of TsuRag.com. TsuRag is my version of the Durag. Okay. I pretty much took the traditional Durag and I flipped it. I'll break down the changes I made. But the name, I came up with the name pretty much if you're looking for the ultimate tsunami waves, get the TsuRag. It was a play on words. And around that time, they had a disaster in Japan. Right. So I had to be sensitive to that. So I just chopped it down from tsunami cap, tsunami rag. I just kept it TsuRag. Originally, I was actually born in the Virgin Islands. A lot of people don't know that because I've been in Harlem there my whole life. I grew up on 141st Street between Lenox and 7th. Shout out to OFO, my peoples. I lived there since '88. Bounced for college after that, moved off the block, but I still live in Harlem.
When did you launch the TsuRag company?
TsuRag, it's funny, it came about New Year's Eve 2011, so it was 2010, December 2010. That's when I actually made the first prototype. I called all my boys up, had that eureka feeling, that moment when you know you wanted something.
Right.
Hit my boys up, so it was New Year's Eve 2011. That's when I came up with it. I'm pretty crafty, so yes, I did put it together myself. I took a needle with thread. My wife had a bonnet laying around the house. I had a Durag, a pair of scissors, and threw it together. And as far as the prototype, my 9 to 5 at the time, I was working at the New York Times. And that's dead smack in the garment district. Right. So on my lunch break, I would be hustling, bustling, running around, asking about fabrics, asking about manufacturing. And before you know it, within a matter of, I want to say, 2-3 months, I had a good amount made up already, ready to test the market, ready to go. I would say I'm reaching probably the 60,000 point mark. It's picking up within the wave community. That's its home right there. All the wavers online know about it. Right. But now barbershops are starting to hit me up and they're ordering wholesale. Haven't really done any hair shows, any type of trade shows, but that's in store for this year right here. So we're expecting to see those numbers climb up the roof.
And where would you say most of your sales come from?
It varies, man. I'm getting sales from the UK. Shout out to my UK wavers out there. A lot of guys, the military guys. I get a lot of APO addresses that I ship out to, but it varies throughout the US. It's hard for me to say what state is the heaviest, but if I had to, I'd say probably Atlanta. I get a lot of orders from Atlanta.
How many different styles of TsuRags do you have?
Currently on the website I have 2, but the second one is Su2, which is a sport cap. There's actually 3 versions to that we're dropping in a few days. So it's a sport cap that's online right now. And then we also do it with a net top for the women. I introduced it to the beauty salon. They're in love with it. So instead of using pins to wrap their doobies or their wraps, they throw that Su2 on the net one. And I'm also going to do it with silk or satin. So keep an eye out for that one. The competition, it's a healthy, nice competition out there. A few new companies have sprouted since I've started, and hands down, I actually got a call today. It was a customer from the UK who was saying, "Man, you have the best product on the market. You have the best product on the market." So, I mean, it's a lot of companies coming out, but it's the same old thing. What I do with my products is that I try to add innovation to it, So I think that pretty much keeps me a step ahead of the competition. The original Durag, as you know, is a long string. That string poses a few issues. You know, it cuts into the forehead, cutting off circulation, leaves the indentation in your forehead. Some people even get a permanent mark. Also, at the point where you tie the traditional Durag at the back of the head, some people lose hair, break out with hair bumps. So the TsuRag, what we did was we used a much wider strap, and we used a special Velcro for closure. So it's no more tying, and the strap is so wide it won't coil up and leave that line in your head. Also, the traditional rag, the tail had no function. You would find cats twisting it and tying it to get that extra compression on the side or on the top. What we did with the tail with the TsuRag is now you're able to flip it up and wrap it around. A lot of people have problems waving on a certain side of their head or the back of the head. With the TsuRag, you get that extra compression 360 all the way around. We use a 4-way stretch spandex. The Velcro that we use, it's like a male and female Velcro that's in one. Traditional Velcro, it's male, female, gathers lint. Eventually it loses the stick, so we have a much longer shelf life with the Velcro. And even the stitching, we use quality thread, T40. You pull it, you don't hear that thread popping. So we take pride in the material that we're using, and we use top of the line stuff. That's a very good question. To be honest with you, TsuRag fell into my lap. However, I've always had it in me as far as wanting to be an entrepreneur. It just wasn't as clear as day to me. And it was just a blessing that the TsuRag came along and brought all of it out of me and took off running that.
Any examples of things that you know that led you? Like me, I know when I was young, I was selling hamsters at a better price than Petland discount. So I was painting characters on people's pants and denim suits for Easter to make money. So those are the things I did before cutting hair and actually opening a barbershop. So I knew it was in me. I didn't know what it was, but I know I had that drive. Are there any examples?
Not along those lines, but I remember one of my first jobs, I was working at a bank, and I saw what my boss was making. And I remember the amount of hours that I was putting in, and I looked at my check and compared it to his, and it was like, this ain't cool, man. So that was one of the things that sparked me to even start thinking along those lines. Being my own boss was knowing that I could put in that work, that hard work that I'm putting in. I'd rather do it for myself. So yes, I have a couple of key points. Research is very important. I know a lot of people who think they came up with the next big thing, and you go do a pattern search and there's 100 of them out there. So definitely do your research on that. You don't want to, put all your effort and energy into something, and then, you find out you can't move forward anymore. So Google should be your best friend. It's out there, all the information you need is out there. And lastly, mentor. Find someone in that field that you can pick their brains. And believe it or not, trust me, you find someone that's doing something, they see a younger cat with the same interests, they're eager to help you out and spread that knowledge. So
next episode on Barber World TV, I sit down with Robert Clark, New York State Board Barber Examiner, also owner of Exclusive Barber Supplier. This episode of Barber World TV is sponsored by Antique Barber. One in the chair, one waiting, and one on the way.